Coming up on the AFN Evening News.
One soldier sacrifice. The USO honors former NFL player turned Army Ranger Pat Tillman. And military leaders in NATO coming together. Plus, one airman's courage and quick thinking earned him the Air Force's highest peacetime heroism award.
The AFN Evening News. Real news for real people.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Specialist Eleazar Craig. The State Department is issuing a travel warning. We'll have the details on that in a moment. But first, our top story. It's official, the first democratic government in Iraq in 50 years. One of Saddam Hussein's enemies took the presidential oath yesterday and wasted no time in naming another Hussein foe as prime minister. The top priority now is to draft the country's permanent constitution and prepare groundwork for the December elections. Turning now to the war on terror, insurgent attacks continue to threaten the democracy taking hold in Iraq. Today, 4 children in Iraq died after a homemade bomb exploded in southeast Baghdad. Meanwhile, in Mosul, another bomb attack killed 3 Iraqi soldiers and injured 20 more. 7 suspected militants are now in custody. An attack on Turkish oil tankers killed one of the drivers and injured several others. And Babel police say armed men destroyed the Al-Qudir shrine in the Latifia area 35 miles south of Baghdad. The United States military has some of the most superior radar equipment in the world, and superiority has taken another step forward. Specialist Cole Ebel tells us about 2 soldiers who manage a new mobile radar system in Kuwait.
Camp Buehring in Kuwait is home to the Buehring Army Airfield. The main purpose is getting pilots and their birds in and out of Iraq safely. A new mobile radar system provides the ability to quickly deploy and set up. The soldiers who operate this equipment are key to helping pilots travel safely through any type of weather.
Lately, it's been a lot of rain, lightning, rain, that kind of thing, but during the summertime we'll get a lot of sandstorms. Winds can get up pretty high, and visibility can go down to virtually nothing, so a pilot can't see in front of their face really, and they rely on us to put them on the ground safely.
Typically, our main mission here is IFR, instrument flight rule, recovery of aircraft. They fly out, the weather gets bad, they can't see anymore, we've got to bring them in.
Besides controlling the radar station, they also train soldiers headed north and teach them how to perform the job safely and efficiently.
I'm responsible for the training of, the people on my shift. So I'll come in, I'll read the current messages from the night before, and then I'll come in and I'll check out the scope, make sure the radar is working properly. And once I've done that, it's just a matter of waiting for aircraft to call.
We have 1 radio controller, and we have right now 8 trainees. When we have traffic during sunny days, it's all training. We train our trainees, get them ready for our real conditions, which is IFR weather, instrument flight rules.
Training and technology that is helping troops in Iraq stay safe and get the mission done. Specialist Cole Ebel, AFN News, Camp Buehring.
Each of the soldiers serving downrange sacrifice a great deal, and many will make the ultimate sacrifice. In honor of one Army Ranger's death, the USO and the NFL have opened the first USO center in Afghanistan. Army Sergeant Jason Allgood takes us to Bagram Airfield for a tribute to a pro football player turned Army Ranger, Pat Tillman.
On a bright, sunny Afghanistan morning, soldiers from many of the coalition forces gathered at the new Pat Tillman USO Center for the grand opening. Built with funds donated by the NFL, this is the 123rd USO in the world and the first in Afghanistan. NFL players Larry Izzo of the New England Patriots and Warwick Dunn of the Atlanta Falcons officially opened the center during their Salute of the Troops tour.
I just pretty much came on a USO trip to visit the troops, to show them that we support them and what they do and what they mean to this country.
The center, named for former Arizona Cardinal and fallen Army Ranger Pat Tillman, opens with a big celebration. The NFL players signed autographs and posed for pictures with the service members. More importantly, they learned what it was like for the service members in Afghanistan.
I already had a huge amount of respect for what goes on here, but to see it, firsthand in person, I can't say enough about how much I appreciate and we all appreciate what everybody's doing over here.
With a band made of Marines playing in the background, coalition members enjoying the cookout, and the USO opens its doors to the coalition serving in Afghanistan. From Bagram Airfield, Army Sergeant Jason Allgood, AFN News.
During their visit to Afghanistan, Izzo and Dunn took a trip to the range and squeezed off a few rounds. We'll have more on that for you Monday night. The State Department is advising Americans to avoid travel to the West Bank and avoid Gaza altogether. Americans should also reconsider any trips to Israel as well. The warning says the U.S. government has information indicating that interest in Israel could be the target of terrorist acts. More and more, the countries of NATO are playing a key role in the world affairs. Harry Lockley takes us to Heidelberg, Germany, where generals from 13 countries came together to discuss the future role of NATO's land-based forces, led by none other than USA's commanding General B.B. Bell.
Administrative remarks. NATO's land forces are divided into Southern Europe, headquartered at Madrid, Spain, and Northern Europe, headquartered at Heidelberg, Germany. This conference brought together leaders from all of NATO's ground forces.
This is a good chance for us to look at what are the internal requirements for NATO, how do we reach out to meet missions external to the traditional NATO boundaries, and what's our role in the future in protecting all of our nations, these 26 terrific countries that make up NATO today.
Part of that protection involves becoming more expeditionary to adapt to the threats of the 21st century.
In the past, we used to be a static headquarters, so we commanded basically from here or deployed to places, but then only the individuals.
And as the Allied land components learn how to better deploy their headquarters in the future, input from the individual corps commanders becomes much more important at conferences like this one.
In the 21st century, you rely a lot of modern technology, but nothing, in my opinion, can substitute face-to-face contact.
From Heidelberg, Germany, I'm USA's Harry Lockley, AFN News.
Public opinion of the president's performance is dropping, and it's worse for Congress. An AP Ipsos poll finds the president's job approval is at 44% and disapproval at 54%. Only 37% have favorable opinion of the work of Congress. Political analysts say record high gas prices, nervousness about Social Security, and the ongoing war and the Terry Schiavo case all contribute to the slide. We're going to take a short break, but don't go away. When we come back, soldiers training for life-threatening situations, preparing for the worst. Plus, soldiers aren't the only ones training on survival skills. These spouses are roughing it while loved ones are deployed. When the AFN Evening News continues.
I'm a longtime customer of the Army and Air Force Exchange Service and a member of the AFE's Board of Directors. One of AFE's toughest yet most rewarding missions is to serve soldiers and airmen who are deployed in support of contingency operations throughout the world. Currently, AFE's operates numerous exchanges within the OEF-OIF theater. In addition to these direct operations, more than 80 AFE's unit-run activities operate within Iraq. These stores are located at remote locations where no exchanges are available. AFES also supports numerous rodeo operations to remote locations in an effort to reach out to as many troops as possible. This allows soldiers and airmen who normally would not have access to a store the opportunity to enjoy a little piece of home. AFES truly does go where you go.
I find this a very rewarding experience because a shop as small as ours in the 104th Air Support Group, we already have a large impact contributing to the community, our services, in assisting them with matters relating to their day-to-day living. We want to make sure that they are well served and taken care of in this part of the world.
Seen in 56 countries across 5 time zones, you're watching the award-winning AFN Evening News. Real people, real news.
Thanks for sticking with us. One of the biggest problems facing troops in Iraq, improvised explosive devices. Specialist Xavier Bush takes us to Grafenwehr, Germany, where explosive training now could save lives down the line.
One of the biggest problems in Iraq are improvised explosive devices, or IEDs. The responsibility for clearing IEDs falls on the 54th Engineers, who know the importance of removing the explosives and clearing paths. That means removing anything that can endanger a soldier's life or mission. In other words, before you can make a move, the 54th Engineers make sure that you can get through safely by setting up entrance and exit routes and then guiding you through.
This job is very important. We clear lanes for other vehicles. We keep what's ahead of them safe. We make sure there's no mines that could destroy a vehicle, shut down operation for a day or two.
One of the things that we would probably provide is we'd be doing IED sweeps, reconnaissance along routes, and that's imperative, and because that's where we lose a lot of people is, improvised explosive devices along the roadside. So we play a huge role in that, and whatever training we can get to get us better prepared for that is going to help us down there.
And training exercises like these are an excellent opportunity to get ready for what they'll be doing downrange. Reporting from Grafenwehr, Germany, I'm Specialist Xavier Bush, AFN News.
The 54th Engineer Battalion may be returning to Iraq in an upcoming rotation. When you're in charge of the protection and transportation of very important people, your security skills must be top of the line. As Army Sergeant Shannon Wright explains, the soldiers of the 214th Aviation Regiment stepped off the red carpet into the Grafenwehr, Germany training area to show what they're made of.
The 214th Aviation Regiment, based in Mannheim, Germany, is tasked with flying USARA's VIPs. They removed the red carpeting out of their Black Hawks to meet a twice-a-year requirement, qualifying crew chiefs on the M60 machine gun. The unit spent 4 days in Grafenwehr, Germany, firing at ground targets from their UH-60 helicopters. Even though their primary mission is to ferry senior leaders and dignitaries, they need to ensure that they stay proficient on their warrior tasks. Qualifying on the M60 is one of the requirements for crew chief certification. From the Grafenwehr training area, I'm Sergeant Shannon Wright, AFN News.
Tune in Monday when we take you inside the UH-60 Black Hawk and one crew chief's qualification. Men and women who deploy train for situations they may face downrange, but the spouses they leave behind often aren't prepared for the challenges they'll be facing on their own. Air Force Sergeant Paul Hughes reports on an RAF Mildenhall program designed to discover diamonds in the rough.
Throw the rest of our leaves on top of it, so that makes a nice water seal.
Spouses of military members may never need to know how to make a shelter in the woods.
Remember, always shingling, one layer over top of the other.
But those who attended Mildenhall Spouses Survival Training know, and more importantly, have the added confidence to live their lives on their own while their spouses are away.
We try to make it very general, everything from a plane accident to a car breaking down to a winter storm. And this way, individuals will know what to do in a survival situation.
The key here is confidence for the spouses. So by them getting hands-on skills in these basic survival procedures can definitely help them out while their spouses are gone. This thing will definitely keep us nice and protected no matter what it's doing outside.
Ann Johnson's husband is deployed.
I came into this class not really knowing any kind of survival techniques, and I'll walk out at least knowing how to start a fire if I have to without any kind of matches or anything like that.
You're going to drive this thing. You're just going to help to steady it one hand, just one hand.
But these programs, it builds up their confidence where they are empowered to take control of their lives.
Spouses survival training is part of Mildenhall's combat care program. Tech Sergeant Paul Hughes, RAF Mildenhall in the United Kingdom.
Very good.
Those spouses may need additional training to survive the hike in gas prices. According to an Energy Department report, there is no relief in sight. The department says gas prices will average $2.35 a gallon in May. The report expects high prices through the end of the year. AFE's prices are based on the average stateside price. The careless actions of one airman caused a fire on a fuel truck at Spangdahlem Air Base in Germany a couple of years back. This could have led to a disaster because the truck was full of fuel and located near the fuel storage area. But as Staff Sergeant Deb Decker reports, the quick thinking and response of one Spangdahlem NCO kept the situation under control.
The base's Fuels Compliance NCOIC was the first to respond to the fire on May 5, 2003. Tech Sergeant Douglas Beck called the fire department, used 2 fire extinguishers to put out the fire, and rendered first aid to an airman burned by the blaze. For his actions 2 years ago, Tech Sergeant Beck was awarded the Airman's Medal.
I never really expected a whole lot out of it. You know, it was just what you do at the time when you're in the right place. And when it was finally approved, it was a good thing, definitely a good thing. It was kind of like the highlight of your career.
Tech Sergeant Beck credits his presence of mind during the incident to all the training he's had in the Air Force.
So in the long run, it was basically the fact that I had the training, the presence of mind, and was able to extinguish a fire and stop everything before it could have turned into a catastrophic event.
By the time I got down here, Sergeant Beck had already put out the fire. The fire department had arrived on scene, and one of my airmen was hurt on the side of the fuel truck, had burns to her hair and on her back.
When my safety guy came up on top of the ladder and he had his lighter over the manhole, the vapors were just pouring out of the manhole and he lit it. And we let go of the dead man, which sucked the flames back into the tank, and then they came pouring back at my face.
The airman who was hurt in the incident was treated and back on another truck the next day, something she was able to do thanks to Tech Sergeant Beck's quick reaction. Staff Sergeant Deb Decker, Spangdahlem Air Base, Germany.
The Airman Medal is the highest award for heroism given in peacetime. As for the airman who used his lighter on top of the fuel truck, he was convicted of reckless endangerment and damaging military property. He was reduced to the grade of E1, received 16 months confinement, and given a bad conduct discharge. It's time for some of our affiliates to switch to local programming. For the rest of you, the Food and Drug Administration is recalling a painkiller you might be taking. Plus, the cost of college is getting higher every year. But long before that, there are many other expenses. Raising children is just expensive. How your kids can start saving for their future now. That story and more after these messages. Stay with us.
Vacuum-packed meats are a unique part of the European commissary experience. But did you ever wonder what we do to make them look this way, or better yet, why? Let us show you. Each month, about 1 million pounds of fresh, top-quality American beef and German pork are processed into vacuum-packed patties, steaks, chops, and roasts at our central meat processing plant in Germany. Maintaining highly sanitary conditions and sealing in this sturdy, airless, leak-free package extends the shelf life enough that all but our most remote commissaries can make fresh, never-frozen meats available every day in a wide variety of choices. But if you need something other than one of the 120 different choices routinely offered, our professional butchers can handle that too. Just ask your store's meat manager about placing a special order. So why do we do it? Because for commissary patrons, only the best will do.
Out of the last 2 years, been deployed for about 18 months, so really looking forward to getting there.
There's a PX and there's a cafeteria where they can have something to eat.
Here at the airport, I'm gonna try to get some sleep. Drink some coffee, try to stay awake.
Having recently returned from Nigeria, I'd like to tell you about USAFE's security cooperation efforts. My visit was part of USAFE's plan to enhance and build alliances throughout our area of responsibility. USAFE teams have traveled to more than 20 European and African countries, engaging in vital exchanges with our partners. We're proud to be a key player and actively expanding partnerships in EUCOM as we prepare for the many challenges of the 21st century.
As an Army family physician, when one of my patients needs specialty care on the local economy, I feel confident that they're going to receive the best possible care. Our TRICARE Preferred Provider Network colleagues meet the same requirements as our military healthcare providers. We monitor the quality of their care, and we respond to valuable feedback from our patients. When you use the host nation medical system, be assured that you will receive the same quality of care that you would receive from us.
The website you've been searching for, afneurope.net. Get the weather and your exchange rates. Check out the latest TV and radio schedules. Listen to our radio news and watch our television stories. All at afneurope.net.
Thanks for sticking with us. The popular painkiller Bextra is off the market due to evidence linking it to a potentially fatal skin condition, in addition to an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes. Pfizer, the drug's manufacturer, suspended sales in the U.S. and Europe at the request of government regulators. The Iron Flight competition is a challenging event between squadrons measuring strength and endurance. At the last competition on Spangdahlem Air Base in Germany, 10 squadrons came out ready to fight their way through the fatigue and trash talk. Staff Sergeant Brandon Hoyt was there to witness who triumphed and who attained the bragging rights of being Spangdahlem's fittest flight.
On your marks, get set, go!
The competition began with a team relay race. Each member of the 5-person team sprinted 1 lap around the Spangdahlem track. Next, the wall sit, an excruciating mental battle against pain and the shame of falling out first. The third event was the plank, also an agonizing trial of endurance, but cheering teammates helped.
You keep going! Breathe!
Next up were the classic sit-ups and push-ups for not 1 minute, but 2.
Hit him again! Hit him again! Hit him again!
Lastly, the test of testosterone, the farmer's walk, a race against time while carrying 2 100-pound dumbbells. Each event had teammates yelling cheers of motivation, but does it actually help?
You got it, keep breathing.
Oh, definitely, definitely. It's motivation. I mean, you can't let the other person, you just can't go down. You gotta, just push yourself no matter what it takes. You gotta just keep going.
And the winner of the Iron Flight competition goes to the Services Squadron. After winning the title of the Wing's fittest flight, I accused the fitness center of having an unfair advantage because they work at the gym.
I don't know, I'm not a big fan of that one personally. I mean, everyone's got an excuse for everything, you know what I mean? If you win, they always say you get too much gym time because you work here, blah, 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 but you know what? When it comes game time, it's about who performs the best and who doesn't, you know what I mean? So who brings their A game and who doesn't.
Spangdahlem holds an Iron Flight competition once a quarter. Staff Sergeant Brandon Hoyt, Spangdahlem Air Base, Germany.
Once again, congratulations to the 52nd Services Squadron out at Spangdahlem, the newest Iron Flight champions. Deployments and training rotations can strain a family's child care. Throughout USARA, this is a growing issue. 1st Armored Division Commander Major General Martin Dempsey says he recognizes the challenge of finding quality daycare for your kids.
I see our biggest family support challenge as providing adequate child care. We currently do not have enough child care providers, and it impacts on the activities and volunteer programs that we so desperately need living here in Germany far from home.
The Civilian Support Office is looking for child care providers. If you're interested, you can go to the website chra.eur.army.mil. If you save a little now, you'll have something tomorrow. Navy journalist Abraham Essenmaker takes us to La Maddalena, Italy, for a look at a special program teaching children how to invest in their future.
Navy Federal Credit Union is actively educating youth about financial savings through their Smart Spender program. The credit union believes the program allows kids to get a head start on money matters.
The youth are very important in Navy Federal. If you can teach children savings habits early, and when they become members of the credit union early, then we have the opportunity to teach them lifelong savings habits.
Because of the program's success at other credit unions, the La Maddalena branch recently implemented the Smart Spender.
So we kicked it off actually at the beginning of the school year with the hopes of bringing the kids into the credit union and start teaching them about saving money.
Traditionally, the La Maddalena NFCU is a non-cash facility, but has changed that policy for the program.
So we opened it up for that. We limited it to $50 because we knew the older kids might earn a little bit more, but the younger kids should just be bringing us a little bit of, a little bit of savings here and there, and then we'll take care of it on our end.
There is no deadline for starting what NFCU calls a SAMI account for children, so parents can open one at any time. Reporting from La Maddalena, Italy, I'm Navy journalist Abraham Essenmaker.
Some of our affiliates will now take over with their own programming, but for the rest of you, how about a cup of coffee and some good conversation? In Italian? More Real People, Real News when we come back. Thanks for sticking around. Living overseas, the language barrier can be one of the highest hurdles to overcome. Navy journalist Steve Weaver sits in with an intercultural group at La Maddalena, Italy, tackling the challenge with a little coffee and conversation.
No, these aren't local Italians sitting down to a leisurely coffee break. These members of the La Maddalena community are taking part in the Intercultural Relations, or ICR, Italian Coffee Talk. The class was formed to give those with a basic knowledge of Italian a way to further their skills in the language.
And we decided to put together a coffee talk because we have a basic Italian class that we offer once a month for people just coming out of ICR, people who are still looking to put together sentences and learn the basics of the language. But once they outgrow that, they need to get out and practice. But oftentimes they don't have the opportunity to get out and practice, or they feel too shy to go out and do it. And this is a forum that's safe for them, where they have the instructors kind of there as their dictionaries or their little assistants. But in an atmosphere where they can ask questions and we can discuss things that are important to them.
The class meets every Wednesday afternoon at 1 at different local establishments in La Maddalena. There are rules to abide by in the class. You must sign up at ICR, try to speak only Italian for the entire hour, bring an English-Italian dictionary, and most of all, have fun.
Oh, I think it's a great idea to participate in this class because it's kind of casual conversation and you have to respond in a spontaneous manner as if you were in a store talking to the owner of the shop. Sometimes you might plan what you want to say before you go out, but it's good to have that practice to be speaking spontaneously in Italian, because then you'll begin to think in Italian, and that's when the language will really take hold in your mind.
Coffee Talk brings the language to those in the process of learning it.
It gives them the jump start that they need to start practicing. Everybody always says, oh, I really want to learn the language, I really want to practice, but you get tired of speaking to yourself in the mirror. And this way you get to meet people. Coffee kind of gives you the idea that it's a come and go kind of thing. You don't have to enroll and do it for 8 weeks. Come 1 week. If you don't have time the next week, don't come. It's a nice social group with a laid-back, relaxed atmosphere.
Reporting from La Maddalena, Italy,
Venite a passare un'ora con noi il mercoledì a luna.
I'm Navy journalist Steve Weaver, AFN News.
Well, that's going to wrap it up for us this week. See you Monday. Thanks for joining us.